Alright, today I am in the workshop, not to build Vespas, but to build something different. I'm going to build a 80s skateboard with one of my favorite skateboards that has just recently been reissued, the Neil Blender Coffee Man deck. I think that they did 2 runs of 200 and they sold out. Like, they put them on sale on their website at like 9 a.m. and by 10 a.m. they were sold out. And then they did another one that was like the modified 80s version where it wasn't quite as wide up through here. And that was, I think, called a rider board. And so the first 2 sets are white, the 3rd set was blue, and then this one is original reissue because it's a little bit wider at the top here. That was one of the things I really didn't like about the other board that I had, was that it wasn't an 80s shape. They had shaved down the sides, so it was not as wide. So this one's a little bit more of a cruiser, whereas I think this one here, I'm actually going to set up and ride as a park board. So you get to do that with me today. Okay, so I have everything set up here with some parts that I took off an old board and some tools that I'm going to need to put it together. And I think what I'm going to do is start with the rails. So what I'm going to try to figure out, and I'll probably do this off camera, is I want to make sure that I set the rails far enough apart that the middle of the board doesn't bottom out. So you have a little bit of space under there that when you're doing board sides, you're staying on your rails instead of spacing them to the point where your board will bottom out. Now the thing about that is that this one has so much concave that these rails might have to be moved in so far they cover my favorite graphic. So I'm kind of hoping that that is not the case, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the camera and figure this out, and then I will come back once it is finished. Now I'd really like to place these rails on the furthest part of the board so you can see the graphic the most. But these are not the thickest rails. I mean, these are probably 3/8 to 1/2 inch. I don't know if they used to make them 1/2 inch, 3/4, a little taller. Taller rails might be better for keeping the rails out of the graphic. But I think if I do that, I'm running into that same problem where I'm going to be bottoming them out and board sliding on wood, and then the rails are just going to be for looks. So I think the rails are really going to have to be moved in closer to this type of direction, which the way it has to be. And this is going to be easier to do while the cellophane is still on it. I'm going to use tape and pencil it off and check it again with the level. So when I turn the camera back on, that should be finished. Okay, so I know I said that the next video I'd have the rails on, but I thought I would just show you how I kind of taped it off. And then I did 1 1/4 inch from the side here, and then I drew my lines down the center of the board and then just went which equals 2 inches from this point to there. So up here I did the same. So I've got it to where we've got like maybe a 1/16 or an 1/8, but I really don't want to go in too much further because I just have to cover up that really cool graphic. So I guess we'll still get part of his face and his arm and his eye, but this isn't a wall board. This is going to be a board that I'm riding. Okay, so I'm almost finished, but I'm not for sure I really like these pig wheels. These 3 bolts here, if you notice, like this one sinks down, and then some of these set flush, like they won't go past the top. So these are stripped. This end one is in, I think, and then these 3 are stripped. It seems like the ones on the end maybe set down in there a little bit, but I don't know if anybody else is having any problems with these, but yeah, they're full on. And the instructions didn't say anything about pre-drilling, so that one's grabbing. But this one I can't even get past the surface of the rail, so I think what I'm going to have to do is just find some other wood screws, which I probably have here. Okay, so I found some screws that are a little bit smaller than the screws that came with it, and the heads seem to fit in there a little bit easier, and I think that they're a little bit longer. So I'm going to remove the ones that are stripped and use some of these longer ones. Hopefully they don't poke all the way through the top of the board. So far I've managed to avoid that. going to do them by hand, and then I'll be back. So as I was undoing the rail, the center ones wouldn't come out, so I pulled up to get the bolt, and the rail just snapped, just broke from undoing a screw. So now I either have to go buy these cheap rails again. I don't know if they were old. If anybody else has any experience with these pig rails, maybe leave me a message in the comment. But I do not think I'm going to buy them anymore. I mean, let's see. Cheap shit, man. Alright, so pig rails, I'm going to put you in your place. Okay, so here's what I think I'm going to do instead of driving around to a bunch of skate shops to find some red rails, is that I'm just going to take these rails, because I actually like these ones. I was on the fence about using these at first, but the red looked a lot better, and put them on this board to cover up the holes that I've made here. So they'll go in the same place, and then I guess in the future, if I come across some cool red rails, then I may put them on here. Alright, the rails are on, and they're looking like they're in pretty good shape. So I've still got clearance underneath there, so hopefully I won't get bottom boarding out. And then the only thing left is I'm going to put one sticker on it. So I guess it does get a little color of red in there. It's my Airwalk sticker, because yes, I do skate in Airwalks. Always have, always will, they're the best. Alright, the grip is on. Alright, well I plan to use these Ace trucks, but the bolt hole patterns aren't matching up. So this is where the holes are for here. And then, so it looks like I'd have to re-drill the front and the back if I wanted to use these Ace trucks. I don't know if the bolt hole pattern is different for Indies. I got a couple old pairs over here. Yeah, so it looks like it lines up for Indies pretty good. So I might not be able to use these Ace trucks. I might have to use these Indies instead, which should be okay. I mean, I don't know. Maybe a little bit heavier, but either that or I got to drill through it, which I really don't want to do. Alright, now the board is gripped and railed and stickered, and I am ready to put on my trucks, which I have a set of these Ace trucks that I got some new bushings for, so I like to ride them hard. And we also got some Bones wheels and some rubber riser pads. So I'm going to assemble that and put them on next. Alright, so the mounting hardware is on, the independent trucks are on, and the shock absorbing riser pads are on. It's kind of nice. I got new bushings, so everything is black. Maybe in the long run this works out as a little bit better. So now I'm ready to put on the new wheels, which I got some Bones skate park formula, and I believe these, I've had these are orange, so these are probably Bronson bearings, and then we are good to go. And done. There we go. We got the independent trucks on. I got the Powell wheels on. And the board is complete. Except for, I think I might do a top graphic. Paint something on here. Neil Blender had done a little motorcycle guy for a graphic for Steve Caballero's wheel that I always thought was kind of cool. And once COVID started, I started getting into mopeds, buying Vespa mopeds and fixing them up, getting them running, painting them and flipping them. As something to do down here in the workshop. So I thought that this might be kind of a cool little graphic to tie both of them together, because like mopeds or surfing or skateboarding or snowboarding or anything else where you're up, you're moving, the wind's in your face, there's a little adventure. They all have like a subculture with art and music, so I thought that might look kind of cool right around that area. So I'll update later once I figure out how to do that. But for now, the Neil Blender board is complete. And it is ready to ride. Alright, so I took that graphic and I did it the best I could on here. I don't know if you can see it in the sun a little better.